Call the meeting to order. All those that can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, roll call, please.
All board members are present.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support, Sylvia.
Moved and supported. A vote, please.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Oh, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item is consent agenda approval.
Before we approve the consent agenda, there's a typo in the minutes that Tammy has and she'll correct.
Right.
It's just number 2 when it should be number 3. I move to approve the consent agenda
Corrected.
as corrected.
Charlotte, support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All right. Vote, please.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe votes yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item is announcements. The Oakland County Treasurer's Office is in their final stretch for their foreclosure prevention efforts. Tax foreclosure deadline for 2022 and or prior tax years is on March 31st, 2025. This means that taxes that aren't paid off by March 31st or any interested party hasn't entered into a repayment schedule with the Treasurer's Office by then, the property will be foreclosed. That's some positive news. Wow. Okay, and the next item is sad news. John Pratt, basically 30-year veteran of Highland Township Fire Department, passed away this weekend. And Chief, you got any more info on there you might want to give us?
Yeah, it's very sad to say that Sunday night between 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, Captain John Pratt passed away from leukemia. He was diagnosed back in November. So it was a very short but very difficult battle for him. We were all thankful he's no longer hurting. John has been on the department for 38 years, 10 months, and 23 days. He hired back April 10th of 1986. Along with going up the ranks from firefighter EMT, firefighter, then EMT as EMT came along, instructor coordinator for EMS. So he was an EMS instructor. He's taught hundreds of people in Highland Township CPR. He was the main person that took care of all that for our township or for the fire department. So it'd be greatly missed and difficult to replace. He was one of the most dedicated paid on call employees I've ever seen in my career. And it'll be, like I said, he'll be missed, and please keep his family and Terry and his wife and everybody in their wishes and thoughts. And we'll try to let everybody know when there's, they're talking about doing a memorial service for him. Exact times and everything are not worked out yet. So we'll release those this weekend.
All right, thank you. That's sad news. All right, public comment. Anybody have anything to say? You know, I think in Greek that means yes. Yeah, there you go. All right, anybody else have anything to say? I'll throw something out there. Our trustee Grant Charlotte has his company who won the bid for the bridge across the water there in front of Calisani's, was able to take advantage of some nice cold weather and was able to get on the pond with his equipment and put in the helical piers necessary to support the concrete walkway that's going across it. And that's exciting because I think it was exciting doing it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt a lot like work.
So it's exciting regardless. So, all right. The And on that note, we'll go to item number 8. Pending business. If you look at your memorandum, it's when we talked last, we talked about how the DDA would like to be able to do a partnership with the township, and there was a couple of conversations, 2 avenues. One is a direct partnership, and the other is a partnership through a loan. And so in the package, we have one pathway that's listed. So on that note, would anybody like to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
What?
I thought that this was the issue where trustee Charlotte was going to move or request
To abstain from the vote.
to abstain from the vote and recuse himself from discussion.
I would like to request that I abstain from the vote and recuse myself from the discussion.
Support. Okay,
So can he move to abstain himself? Okay.
He's asking the board.
all right. Well, I'll make that motion, Brian, second it. So vote please.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Well,
I thought we did that last time. Okay, Jenny, back to your motion.
I make a motion that the supervisor be authorized to sign the partnership agreement between Highland Township and the Highland DDA for the Highland Station Board project.
Support Lewis.
We're going to support it. Okay, discussion.
I would like to reiterate my request to do this as a loan. I feel like we don't really have a good picture of what all our costs are going to be to maintain the assets that we have. And we don't know, it's hard to know if you can afford something unless you know, well, what are your other upcoming expenses, your capital improvements? I just feel like we have so many things out there that we need to do, and we haven't tallied that number. So how can I feel comfortable in just giving this money away? I think it really makes sense as a DDA project. And the township has a lot of other responsibilities.
All right. Anybody have any comments?
How much discussion was made prior to this meeting about the loan versus just advancing on?
We discussed it at the previous
Well,
meeting.
I know that, but nothing else between that. Okay.
Well, here's what happens either way. The township puts forth 250,000. This is Tammy's point is she would prefer not to put any money towards it.
No.
No.
I would like to be alone.
And you still have to put the
Yeah,
250.
I understand.
So you're taking it out of
But it's coming back.
well,
So currently in our capital fund balance, we have just under 3 million in our total capital fund balance.
so I don't feel we have there's an issue with the money personally. I think either way is possible, but it's up to the board to decide. Do you want to just invest the money, put it in there? You're going to own it anyways down the road. The difference is you do get the money back if it's loaned. But it's going to take, X number of years. That'll be another element if you decide to go that route. It'll have to make a decision what to redo the contract or agreement to be a loan, which will then have to have the
And who would be paying back this loan?
DDA.
Okay.
And the other problem is that if the DDA does the entire amount, it basically puts us in a position where we've got the money to pay for we don't have the money.
No.
There's
The DDA currently has 600,000 total So, I mean, they bring in tax increment money along the way. We would probably be able to afford the director. And then can I make a comment too?
Sure.
So this is a huge connection that we've been looking for. And we have Highland Township has a pathway plan, and we've done safe routes to school projects to implement sidewalks, trying to get to the high school. And then this is just another step. And if we're in the DDA putting in sidewalks, I have a feeling that the DDA will be a partner with us too, in some way.
Okay, any other?
Jenny, I have a question. Would it be possible for there to be any type of grants available that would help out with that type of project, or no?
So if we were to do a grant for this boardwalk, it would have to be wider and meet more standards. And does the Safe Routes do Davis Bacon? Yeah, so prevailing wages would need to be paid.
So instead of being 600,000, it would be 1,600,000, literally.
And 10 years ago, it was only like 200,000.
So the point is, we made a decision last time that we would move forward with it, and the township would commit $250,000 in some form. So this is the some form. So the request from the DDA is this agreement that is for the $250,000, not as a loan, but as a direct partnership. So any other questions? All right, so the motion on the table is to approve the supervisor to have the authority to sign the partnership agreement between Highland Township and the Highland DDA for the Highland Station Boardwalk project. So we have the motion. It was supported, and we need a vote.
So question, I guess real quick, I do have a question, sorry. So what we're voting on here is not, we're just
It's not a loan.
not alone in this, okay, in this
Right.
motion. Okay, thank you.
Ready to vote.
Clerk Flowers votes no. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. House,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte is not voting. Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Right. And I appreciate your
Grant, you got to come back.
comment. Thanks, Tammy. Okay,
We had to vote him,
what?
we didn't know if we had to vote him back in. We don't.
Shoot, I thought we got him off this board doing that, but I guess not. All right, the next item is new business. This is the Oakland County Sheriff Resource Officer Addendum, and
SRO.
yeah, also known as the SRO. And the last meeting we had, we approved the general contract. We approved the general contract, and minus the addendum with the school. So we have had to get the schools to agree to the SRO through the county, this is a county agreement, not a township one in this case. And so essentially what it is we've gotten a signed contract back. The contract is the SRO Addendum School Resource Officer Agreement between Oakland County Sheriff, Huron Valley Schools, and the Charter Township of Highland. It requires a signature from the superintendent of schools. That has been done and noted, and the next signatures would be from the township, and then the contract would go to the county. And after that, all this says is that we agree, they agree that somebody's going to pay for this. And essentially Highland Township's going to pay for it. And then what will follow, which is in the hands of the attorneys for the school, is an agreement between Highland Township and Huron Valley Schools as to how they're going to pay for it. So what share and so on and so forth. This one is strictly the addendum that needs to be done to complete the contract for police services. So
I move to authorize the supervisor to sign the new 3-year school resource officer addendum for Oakland County Sheriff contract.
Support.
okay, moved and supported. Any discussion?
Make a comment if you don't mind, that just in case, and I don't think anybody would, but if there's any ever question how important this is, I mean, coming from the schools, and we have the White Lake police officers at Lakeland, and I can't speak for Milford High School and the SRO over here, but I've met it. Well, I don't know if it's still the same guy, but great guy. I tell you, it's one of the greatest things we've ever done in our schools. Having a police officer in the building. It's nice having somebody there, honestly, with a weapon in case something ever happened. Just because, and we've been blessed at Lakeland with the White Lake police officers we've had. And I think I talked to the Milford people and they've been blessed with the school resource officers. If there's any question whether this is worth it or not, I mean, it's definitely worth it. And just having that, it's just a peace of mind every day, knowing that you go to school and there's somebody there that, knock on wood, we never have any issues and we've been very lucky. But I'll tell you, I don't think you can spend enough, to be honest, just for the safety factor of it, and the peace of mind is great. So I think it's an awesome thing. So I'm glad we're still a part of it. I'm glad we're still doing it too. I think it's very important.
Any other comments? All right. We need a vote then.
Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell, big yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay. The next item is the cost participation agreement 2025 gravel road program with the road commission, Oakland County Road Commission, or Road Commission of Oakland County. We've done this for a number of years now. We take our tri-party funds, which at this point are $37,370, and we allocate them to gravel. And I think it's done a phenomenal job on the gravel roads. We've got very few complaints about the roads since they've been doing it. And it's been a good program. It's another one of those pluses for interacting with our road commission on a township basis. And I think it's a thing we need to do. So.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
So this program, if there's not a project in play, so if the county can get federal money, we will participate normally with that project. And the last one was Clyde Road. So since then, we've just been putting it into the gravel, which I think we get a great deal.
All right. Someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion that to authorize the supervisor to sign the RCOC cost participation agreement for the 2025 gravel haul program.
Support, Salvia.
Okay, moved and supported. Any other discussion or comments? All right, vote please.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlotte, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, the next item is award the bid for activity center window treatments. Anybody want to make a motion on that?
Salvia makes the motion to procure the activity center window treatments.
Support, Lewis.
Can we add to the cost to the agenda or the motion of $12,587?
Amend the motion to not to exceed 13,000.
Okay.
That works. All right, any questions? All right. So we'll vote.
Did somebody second that?
I think.
Okay, my notes aren't keeping up. Okay, ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item. I'm going to make a motion to go into closed session to consider attorney-client privilege communication in accordance with MLC 15.268(1)H. Support. Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
We've come back from closed session, making motion to return. I guess that would say. That's a motion.
I second.
Okay, vote please.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries. You want me to do this one?
Sure, thank you.
All right, I would move to authorize the supervisor to proceed as discussed in closed session.
Support Howell.
Moved and supported. Vote please.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Charlotte,
Charlie, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carried.
Okay, on that note, meeting adjourned.